add. So the first graphic where it shows United States selected significant climate anomalies and events for May and spring 2020, and just things that stand out to us. As the extreme heat and wildfires reported across the Southwest in late May, and that's continuing now, with Arizona and California starting to have some major fires again. No. Also Alaska, you got another anomaly, warmest May on record for Nome. Anchorage, AK, ranked 6th driest for May.
AK is Alaska.
Okay, just, sorry. Oh no. Alaska, 6th driest.
Like the postal zip code.
Sorry. You had your 6th driest May. How do you feel, Jim?
May certainly was warm, and things actually were drying out, and we had some forest fires here. There's a bunch that were, including one last year that was less than 20 miles from my house, flared up again. But as soon as June hit, it started pissing. In fact, today it's raining heavily. So, of course, it always rains right on solstice. Tomorrow's solstice, by the way, not Sunday, but at least here in Alaska.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
June 20th.
We're switching. We're going to summer.
Well, it's midsummer, but.
Oh, right.
But,
I gotcha.
But it has done a lot of raining in June, and so, which is good because it knocked down the fires. But yeah, May was pretty warm.
Jeez.
And of course, once the end of May and June came along, the mosquitoes are thick. In May, it was warm and breezy, so the mosquitoes are really non-existent, which was nice. Now you go outside and they're like, you're just covered. They're bad.
Oh my God.
So
the bugs are breeding more, right? If it's warmer, they come out more.
Well, in the case of mosquitoes, there's a lot of snow, so that creates a lot of standing water as it melts. And mosquitoes just love standing water, and they go breeding like rabbits.
Oh my God. And they're terrible.
Only I'd rather see rabbits bouncing around than mosquitoes. But
so the mean temperature departures from average, moving down, and on the website it shows the comparing graphs again, the precipitation versus the temperature, average temperature for May, just the month, and comparing the two, you can see once again the Southwest is having some issues. Very limited precipitation in the Mojave, Arizona, and then the above average temperatures, all the red seems to be in the Southwest for May. So I'm just saying that's linking to these fires that are popping up now. Arizona's having some all over the state. One outside of Phoenix and one outside of Tucson, and then one north of the Grand Canyon. So usually it's California, but now it's Arizona's taken over with the fires. It's pretty crazy.
It is.
And then precipitation, it's just the 48 states. So May is interesting because it could be wet and it could be dry, I guess, but you could see the regionalization of certain pockets where the precipitation is.
To me, it's no accident that where it's warmer than typical, it's also drier than typical.
Yeah, that's the connection with these graphics. That's the story of May. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it almost coincides nicely. You look at the below average precipitation with the above average temperature. It's basically the Southwest Southern California region.
Yeah, and that's where all these wildfires are starting to pop up. And some of them are nature, and some of them, they're blaming on humans. But at the same time, I argue that even if it is humans starting these fires, the scope and scale is getting more severe because of the conditions that we're seeing in these graphics. So even if humans light a spark,
that's a valid point there. If the air is warmer, and you already have a dry region, well, warmer air can hold more moisture. So it's just going to suck the moisture out of the ground, making the ground more prone to going up in flames. What's in general terms, dry areas are going to get drier, wet areas are going to get wetter
Okay,
as
that's
climate
what you
change
understood
proceeds.
too.
That in general terms, of course, little specific regions might have something different about them, but in general terms, that will be the situation.
You're right.
Because
Okay.
if you have, if it's, if you have an area where there's rain and it gets warmer, okay, it can hold more moisture. So you're going to pull out all that moisture on the ground and then it precipitates, goes right back down, but then add more to it. And then when you add to it the changing jet streams with more the meandering, with a lessening of the temperature and pressure gradient, the jet streams won't be moving as quickly. So any storms riding on the jet stream's track, they may linger over an area and just keep pummeling what's underneath them. That's what happened with Harvey in Texas.
The pictures of Harvey, they were just, the entire highway was like submerged. It was amazing. And that's just a snippet, you could argue, of what could happen with these unpredictable patterns. So
The year-to-date highlights that one there?
yes.
Yep.
That's interesting to me.
Yeah, it looks like a person suffering from chicken pox.
Exactly. I know like the global average temperature is debatable, but like NOAA uses like 1.1 or 1.2. They must have updated it by now, 1.3. But isn't there an argument or
They're keeping on the conservative side, which
okay,
is fine. I don't really have an issue with that. I mean, it still reflects a lot of extra heat energy that the system has absorbed. So I don't really have an issue with that. I think by keeping it to 1.1 or so, you can show a finer gradation for, like, say, a 0.2 or 0.4 warming, as opposed to if you went through, say, 1.5. So using a smaller increase and with the different color schemes to show the trends, you can get a finer gradation, a finer breakdown on, area by area. We do this a lot. You sit there, you play with the data. It's like, okay, here's the overall picture. Then you start teasing out the fine points. It's typical.
But you could see the overall trend is, the entire 48 states are above average red.
Well, let's put it this way. Yeah. You don't see anything below average.
Right. That's a great way of putting it. So we're definitely, to circle around to that point you made earlier, is, the trend is clear. The planet is warming, but go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, where it's white, it's at average, but there's no blue on that map at all. So, so it's either at average or warmer than average.
And this is the first 5 months. So this isn't just May. This is the entire year so far that the data has put together. Right. And Florida's still at its record warmest year. Oh, no. But you can see the entire East Coast is above average as well. And everything. Yeah, so that's the way you say it. There is no below average. We're trending
Look at the Gulf
up.
Coast.
Oh my
Look at the Gulf Coast, especially Texas.
Which will contribute to possible storms, breeding ground for storms.
I mean, that's just really, and this is by the ocean, which is supposed to have a moderating effect on temperature.
The Gulf of Mexico, yeah, it's.
So that tells you something about the Gulf of Mexico, how the waters itself has been warmed up.
Oh, I think it's above average at this point, and it's just hurricane season is just starting. There's already 3 named storms, I guess, and oh my gosh, okay, it's supposed to be busy, but we'll see.
But it is. It's like it's overwhelming just how crazy everything's hitting at once.